It's that time. We are looking at your Dynasty football trades. Now, do us a favor. Go ahead and drop a like on the video to show some love. Subscribe if you like Dynasty content. Comment down below right now before we start a trade that you've made. And I can promise you that the community is going to either roast you or tell you that you won your trade.
Absolutely.
But if you want your trades to be on this weekly show, it's actually really simple. Here's the step. Go ahead and use our code LAND, LAND, at flockfantasy.com/land. Sign up to that Mother Flocker tier. You're going to get 30% off, and then you're going to have your trades on this weekly show. So let's go ahead and dive straight in. The first trade that we have today is from Goat Rings.
Come on, baby.
He says it's a 12-team, full PPR, 2-quarterback, start 11. Gibbs is still a bench guy for me, but that 24 first could be the 104 and more likely being the 106 to 109. I got Bijan, Gibbs, and Hall now. Still have 324 first and a second and 2/3. This team is filthy. Okay, so what do you think about this this deal here?
Yeah, I think the big question is, where is that 24 first going to be? I'm a big believer in James Cook, but if that 24 first is kind of like you were saying, could be the 104. I'm interested to see who that is at the 104, but at the same time, I actually think overall this is an even trade. The team that did acquire James Cook might win this trade as well, which means because if you're basically saying, oh, because you actually have, that's not your second. I thought they were both the seconds. Because I thought if that Raider life first was an early first and that second was tied to that Raiders life, then maybe he had an early first and an early second, which would have been very interesting. But
right,
I think it's an even trade all around. Just has to depend on the 24
yeah,
first.
I'll take the Jahmyr Gibbs side here. Like you said, it's more likely that it's the 106 to the 109.
Right.
It is a good class next year, but James Cook to me is definitely he's a piece I would use in a trade to upgrade. So
for sure,
especially if the rest of his team is stacked, I like that deal. But it is close.
Yeah.
His next trade, 12-team, full PPR, start 11, 2-quarterback, no tight end premium. I know it's real light to move Kamara for this, and it's another L for me. But I really like Rashawn and the upside of Reed over Claypool. So he gets Jaden Reed, Rashawn Johnson, Khalil Herbert. He sends away Alvin Kamara, Chase Claypool, and Greg Dulcich, and I couldn't disagree more. Yeah. I don't care about Alvin Kamara, and I don't care about Chase Claypool.
Completely
sucks
agree.
to lose Dulcich, but, I mean, I would much rather prefer the Jaden Reed, who's probably going to start week 1 in the slot, Rashawn Johnson, Khalil Herbert side of this trade.
Completely agree.
I don't think Alvin Kamara has really any trade value in the market right now. So for you to have used him to get something, yeah, you automatically win. All right, Dave, what's up? 12-team PPR Superflex. I still had T-Law, Geno, and Rodgers as my starters before the trade with Levy on taxi. Had 224 first already, but now I have 4 after this trade. So I actually remember seeing this trade in a follower league, but Desmond Ridder for 2 firsts and a second for Anthony Richardson and a third, 2/3. Sorry. So where do you sit on this one?
I actually really like the Desmond Ridder side in the firsts, and I think this is kind of, I did bring Anthony Richardson in the video saying to sell at the right time, and I think this is the right time. This is what you can get. You can get a haul. I think this is a haul, getting 2 firsts, no matter where that is, and a second. And he still has quarterbacks that you're happy with T-Law and Geno, and maybe still wanting to build that quarterback room later on in 2024. So I think Dave wins this trade if he is receiving Desmond Ridder in the firsts.
So, yeah, I do tend to agree with you there. Look, I like Anthony Richardson. I think it will depend on where those first-round picks end up, but let's assume they're both, let's say, mid-first-round picks.
Both 106. Both 106. That's good, right?
I think, if they're both 106, I would be relatively comfortable with this trade. I mean,
right.
My question is, if Anthony Richardson has a Justin Fields type season, what is it going to cost for him next year? Let's say you do miss on A-Rich and you shouldn't have traded him away. Well, how much more will he cost next year? What does Justin Fields cost right now?
I think that can be
I don't think you're gaining a ton of picks to still maneuver with in case you did end up missing on this trade.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, and I think what's so interesting is that the fantasy community is so different on Justin Fields. Like, I feel like we've always been Justin Fields believers, but the community, I feel like, leans more on they don't like Justin Fields, but they love Anthony Richardson, and the pathway, I would say, is similar.
It's weird, right?
The pathway is similar, but yes, the expectation for Richardson is better because he's broken records at the combine, but that's what we're comparing Anthony Richardson to right now. But the community hates Justin Fields, but love Richardson. I don't know. Yeah, it is weird. It is weird.
Yeah. Okay, the next one's from Basic Crown. Delta, you may know this cat I'm trading with, Mr. Billy Spriggs, a.k.a. Billy the Kid, a.k.a. Billy the Goat Scruff.
Come on.
That's my 25 first. Hard to predict 2 years out, but it may be the highest odds for the 112. Watch me fall off my face. Second is low to mid. So he gets Pittman, a second and a first, and sends away Metcalf for as well as 2/3. And I do love DK Metcalf, but yeah, I would much rather the Pittman side of this deal.
Yeah, getting a first and Pittman, who's also right now still worth a first, maybe a late first. I think it's great.
Yeah. Look, love Metcalf, but yeah, like I said, it's too high of a price to pay for him for what he's going to give you.
Yeah.
I actually wrote an article about DK Metcalf over on Flock Fantasy that I think people should go check out. Win Murder says, so I made another flurry of moves today. I might have a problem. Oh, well. Yeah, we all have a problem. Don't worry. This is a 12-team start 10 Superflex, 0.5 tight end premium, and 0.5 running back premium. I didn't really want to move Mark Andrews, and he's super productive in this kind of league, but I had a plan for DJ Moore, which you can see. And having my quarterbacks as Watson, Kyler, and AR-15, I'm trying to get picks without losing players. So my wide receiver room now is CD, Amon-Ra, Burks, Hollywood Brown, and Shaheed. My tight end room is Freiermuth, Chig, and Hurst.
Right.
But 424 first in the chest. Okay, so love the show and the honest takes. Let me know your thoughts. So the first deal, it looks like he sends away Mark Andrews and Jahan Dotson, as well as 2/3 and a fourth, and he receives DJ Moore, Pat Freiermuth, and 2 first-round picks.
Okay.
In a 0.5 tight end premium format. What are you thinking about that deal?
I think it's going to come down to where the 24 first are going to be. I'm okay with, maybe the pivot from Freiermuth to Mark Andrews. Right now, obviously we want to hold Mark Andrews with Lamar Jackson now being there long term. But Pat Freiermuth had a good rookie season. I think can take an even bigger step. The one part I don't like about this trade is doing the swap for DJ Moore essentially for Jahan Dotson. As much as I love DJ Moore and I do believe he could have a good year with Justin Fields, long term I would rather have Jahan Dotson. But the 24 first really swayed me here, and I'm okay with it with this trade personally.
Yeah. I was gonna say I think most people would agree with you, but those 24 firsts are not nothing. I mean, those are those are big pieces to do that swap.
Exactly.
So overall, I think you definitely got pretty good value on this deal. Do you ever want to sell Mark Andrews in a 0.5 tight end premium? No, but I think you got pretty good value for him in this deal. So I think this is, I would give you the edge slightly so far in this first deal. The second deal, it looks like you got Amon-Ra. You sent Devonta Smith a second and a third. To me, as much as I love Devonta Smith, I'm pretty easily on the Amon-Ra side here.
Yeah, I'm okay. I think it's a decent trade. I mean, it's not really that big of a gap, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, Amon-Ra, wide receiver 7, Devonta Smith maybe 10. So you're kind of pivoting up. Yeah, I'm okay with the trade.
Yeah, I would definitely prefer Amon-Ra there. So I like it for sure. Next trade, it looks like you got CeeDee Lamb, sent away DJ Moore, Kendre Miller, and that first. So
okay,
essentially, if you actually look at that first deal, it's what we got. We sent Mark Andrews, Jahan Dotson, right, and let's say a third and a fourth. What we actually got back was DJ Moore, Pat Freiermuth, 1 first-round pick, or sorry,
no,
Pat Freiermuth, CeeDee Lamb, and a first-round pick, essentially. So I kind of like the direction he took with this.
Yeah, flipping Jahan and Moore in a first to acquire CD, which is a massive jump, right? So yeah. I really like that trade without a doubt.
Yeah, and I love Kendre Miller, but I would not sell CeeDee Lamb this cheap if I had him. And funnily, the guy that sold him, his team name is CD's Nuts, so I don't understand he didn't value him properly in my mind.
Probably
but
not.
Big win for you. So overall, I think when you look at all the trades, I can see where you were going. I can see what direction you were trying to take it, and I like it.
Agreed.
All right, Basie.
Basie.
He says this is a 10-team, 1 quarterback, half PPR start 9, 3-way trade.
Oh, boy.
And there's some context. He says, I have 524 firsts from the 5 worst team in the league, 325 firsts, 2 from the bottom feeders.
Oh my gosh.
Could be the 101 and 102. No players, no picks. They went all in last 2 years, and now I have 226 firsts. I swapped mine out because I believe it will be a later pick. The one I got from the team getting Eckler and Adams is going to fall off a cliff. No capital, no youth. Okay, so Team Bryce. Okay, a lot of context there. Let's look at the trade just for the sake of time. It looks like Casey gets Devonta Smith, 2 first-round picks, as well as 2 seconds
26.
for Najee, Drake London, and a first.
You also said 26. Okay.
And he sent a 26 first. I mean, to me, this is a no-brainer for the Devonta Smith side, but
No, I agree. I was just trying to read the trade, but this is a 3-way trade. So where is that second half of that? I'm confused.
okay, that's a good. Well, just this part of it, I'll just quickly say. I mean, Devonta Smith, Drake London. Who do you want, right? Like, choose your poison there. But outside of that, if you take those 2 players out of it, you're like the guy is essentially paying Najee Harris a first and 2 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. So,
which is an overpay, even though I think you should buy Najee right now. That's an overpay.
It's a great trade without a doubt.
It looks like this is another side of the deal where someone gets Adams and Eckler, and they send away Devonta Smith, a first, a second, and a couple thirds. And then the other part of the trade is the last team who got Najee, London, a first and 2 thirds, and sends away Adams, Eckler, and a first and a second. So it looks like this team wanted to get younger. Casey wanted to get the most value and the most future picks. And this team in the middle here wanted to compete with, I guess,
Adams
now.
And Eckler. Yeah. So a very interesting trade. I think, you got a good amount of capital there without a doubt, Casey.
Yeah, I think you did well. All right, Delta League. Casey gets Deontay Johnson, sends away a first-round pick. I'm pretty sure Casey's team is pretty good in that league. But as much as I love Deontay, I want to buy him, but not for a first-round pick. I mean, I've been buying him for, let's say, like the 203 to the 204 to the 205. So I would probably prefer the first-round pick side of this deal.
I would agree. That's what I was going to lean to. I'd rather have the first, no matter where that is. Love Deontay, but give me the first.
Yeah. All right, Ethan, not Ethan. 12-team Superflex needed younger talent at quarterback. Olave and Wilson are close to me and would have rather had Stroud over Smith for longevity. What do you guys think? So gets Olave and Stroud, sends Garrett Wilson and Geno, and I am 100% with you, Ethan. That's exactly your thoughts would be my thoughts in this scenario here.
And this is kind of what maybe I was alluding to in the other videos. Like, okay, sell Geno at the right time, at the right price. I mean, and this is how high maybe somebody is valuing Geno.
I almost feel like it's how high they're valuing Garrett Wilson.
Maybe. And maybe this is more, maybe Geno is a throw-in piece. But even then, I think it's a great trade.
Yeah. No, Geno definitely is an important part, but I would say Wilson's probably the driving factor in that team wanting to do that deal. But I think you did well. I would definitely do that deal myself. Wid Murder, 12 team, start 10, half 0.5 premium for running backs and tight ends. I had almost no running backs, and even though I just got Amon-Ra, I'm lower on Higgins. I thought getting Jacobs in a projected mid to late was decent value. I think even if the plan is to compete in 24, then Jacobs will be 26. Should I have any concerns about a holdout with him? Okay, so he gets Jacobs, Higgins, and sends away Amon-Ra and a first. Here's what I'll say. If you don't plan on competing right now, as much as I love Josh Jacobs, I would probably be looking to cash in on the most value I could possibly get for him. I wouldn't be waiting until 2024 where my team is maybe ready to compete, and then Josh Jacobs is 26. A lot can change in a year, especially at the running back position. I think it's pretty even value as far as the deal goes itself. But I would be looking to flip Jacobs if I'm not competing right now.
And that's kind of where I've been thinking about Jacobs. I haven't said it out loud first, but he could be on the list of like regression. Not saying there's a pathway to it. Haven't really done the research to it. I've been trying to.
I mean, he led the NFL in rushing, so I mean, he's probably going to.
Yeah, and maybe that is the case, right? And they might lean on him a little bit too much this year with whatever the quarterback situation is going to look like. So I would say I'd rather have Amon-Ra on the 24 first personally. Cashing on Jacobs getting a 24 first, essentially swapping Amon-Ra and T. Maybe that's how you can view it. Maybe getting T in the third for Amon-Ra. I think this is a good trade for the other person, unfortunately.
Sure.
Yeah. Just being completely honest.
Yeah, I think you can make a case for that for sure. I don't disagree. I think what you need to do is flip Jacobs if you're not competing, though, for sure.
Yeah.
That will make it easier if you can get value from him. 7 GOATs, 10-team, full PPR, start 11, super flex, tight end premium. I know I have taken this Tony hype too far, but I will die on that cliff. Be gentle. I'm just a man. Okay, so he gets Gesicki, Clyde, Tony, Chase Brown, a third and a second, and he sends away, oh no,
Luke, Debo,
Shoemaker,
Javonte.
Debo, Javonte, and Taekwon.
Okay, so off the rip, I'll break it down the way I see it. Off the rip, Mike Gesicki means nothing to me. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, very interesting. I mean,
means nothing.
Probably means nothing. Kadarius Toney right now, I mean, I just traded him away to get Zay Flowers. I would rather have Zay or somebody over that like that, right? Chase Brown, very interesting prospect. I think when you look at Deebo Samuel, you could have gotten so much more than those 4 players we just spoke about.
Yeah.
You know, alone. And Javonte Williams, if he is ready, he does have a bounce back. Once again, valued higher than I would say all those 4 players alone.
I think that's tough what you just said, because I agree. Like if I had Debo and someone sent me a trade and they said, I'll give you Tony, Gesicki, Clyde, and Chase Brown for Debo, like I would respectfully reply like, I'm sorry, I don't care about those players.
Exactly.
Like I want to keep Debo in this deal. I love Tony. I think he could be something special, but I don't know. I just think this is too much to give up. And then we also add Javonte Williams into that. I don't know, dude. I can't get on board with this sort of price. I'm down to buy Tony, but if it's this price, then I won't have much of him.
Agreed. Completely agree.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
you would be like, what are the chances that Gesicki, at Clyde, or Chase are startable assets in the next 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's quite low, I would say. So that's tough.
Yeah, it is tough. Look, I think you could have hope with Clyde, you know, like had a good season before he was injured. He was like a top 15 back in the air, right? Like,
no, there's no hope. Stop.
There was something for him. I mean, I think this is maybe what he's thinking about. Okay, Clyde had a good season. Maybe he takes over Pacheco, Tony. If he can stay healthy. I don't know about Gesicki, though. You know, like.
Yeah, I mean, Gesicki could actually be a really, really interesting buy in New England. There's no one there, but still.
Hunter Henry's still there.
I can't. Sure, but I mean, okay, so outside of Hunter Henry, who's he competing with targets for? Juju.
I mean, Taekwon.
There's not a ton of people there. But yeah, Debo, and like, I would do this deal probably if you take Shoemaker and Thornton out. I would still do this deal for Debo and Javonte. And I would probably give you like 2 more seconds. I don't know. I think there's not enough value. I'm down to buy Tony, but has to be the right price.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Shane Anderson, 10-team, PPR start 11, non-tight end premium, still rebuilding. I now have Watson, Murray, Lance, Purdy, and Pickett for quarterbacks. Okay, so rebuilding team here. It looks like he gets Dalton Kincaid, Purdy, sends away Jordan Love and Downs, and I like that.
Yes.
Specifically because I think you're selling high on the Josh Downs hype, which I've talked about. The other deal, he gets Kyler Murray and sends away Daniel Jones, OBJ. Like,
wow.
Again, another player I've been saying to buy low, Kyler Murray. These are 2 smash, absolutely great idea trades, in my opinion.
Yeah, great trades for both of them. Love the Dalton Kincaid one. I think it's phenomenal. Kyler, I mean, that's whoa.
Yeah.
You did that?
I'm telling you, like in some formats, he's very affordable.
For sure.
Yeah, I think you absolutely killed both of those deals, Shane. You should feel good about them. And the last deal on today's show is from Goats. I mean, he's making a lot of deals. 12-team super flex.
Start 11.
Sorry, it's 2 quarterback actually. Start 11.
Okay.
I know this Pollard train is chugging along, hoping I didn't sell too low. Okay, so he moves Pollard and Pickens for Dotson, Hyatt, and Kendre.
Oh.
And look, I love Jahan Dotson. I love Kendre Miller, but I have no interest in Jalen Hyatt, and I think Pollard and Pickens is the most valuable side here. Pollard right now being drafted as a top 7 running back in redraft leagues. Everyone anticipates him having an incredible season, me included. And I love Dotson, but at least I'm kind of like given some relief of moving off of a young receiver I love in Dotson to get another young wide receiver that I love in George Pickens. So to me, there's not enough return to move Pollard and Pickens at this point.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, Pollard, like, I'm not a big Kendre guy, so I don't love it. Tony Pollard, man, I think you could have gotten so much more. That's what I would say. Take Hyatt and Kendre away from that. I think someone will give you Jahan Dotson and more potentially. Could be wrong. But yeah, I think this is like selling Pollard at the wrong time, in my opinion, or not selling him for the right value. Yeah. Because a lot of people are paying big money for Tony right now. This is not big money, you know?
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
And I love Kendre Miller, and I still would prefer the other side. So yeah, that's a tough one. Look, I would prefer the Pollard side, the Pickens side, but there'll be people out there who just despise George Pickens, and they'll take the Jahan Dotson side. You know, there will be people out there who are those type of people. So do us a favor, go ahead and drop a like on the video. That is it for today. Subscribe if you like Dynasty content. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Now that those idiots are done talking, who needs some rankings?
Hell yeah, I need some rankings.
Then use promo code LAND, LAND, for 30% off any membership at flockfantasy.com.
Oh.
It's so easy, even your grandma could scan that QR code right there.